Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we are going to be discussing the choice between studying through a full-time university and a part-time university. Looking at the difference between studying full-time and part-time, one of the things you need to consider first is, are you looking at doing a degree part-time or full-time, or are you looking at doing just your postgraduate, which is your honors, full-time or part-time? So we're going to get more into that and why you need to look at that decision, and why doing a degree full time or part time and why doing your postgraduate full time or part time differs. So, the first thing that you need to look at when making a decision is the cost involved. When you study full time, the cost involved includes transport to the university, it includes the meals. How would you cater for your lunch? Would you be taking food? Would you be buying food? And usually, buying involves more cost. And also, bringing food from home also involves cost as well. So, you need to take your lunch into consideration, you need to take your transport cost into consideration. Also, studying full time may involve you to buy a little bit more study material, because you'll be having to transport that. You'll have to have books for lectures, and you'll have to have books for doing tuts and doing examination papers and past year questions and things like that. So, you'll be using a lot more stationery, and you'll be replacing it as well because it can get damaged because of the wear and tear of carrying it all the time. You'll also have to purchase bags. Maybe your bag will get worn out and you'll feel the need to replace it. And then the main cost involved is the tuition fees itself. Because there's going to be face to face lectures, it is going to obviously be more costly than studying through correspondence, which there's nobody teaching you, so that cost is not involved. Also, studying through a full time university means that you have to have some sort of transport available. There's going to be wear and tear involved, there's going to be fuel cost, and you have to take into consideration the rise of fuel prices. And it's obviously preferable to join a carpool, but it may not be necessary, or it may not be possible in your area. So that's another thing to take into consideration. And then when you're looking at studying through correspondence, the cost involved equals Wi-Fi cost or internet packages. Another cost would be stationery, because you would have to purchase stationery. The Another cost would be your registration fee, which you need to pay at first, and you need to settle in full. And then, with regards to your remaining fees, you can settle it in the terms that you choose and whatever is offered by your campus. So, those are the reasons and the cost and how it differs between full time and part time. When you look at the cons of studying full time, the cons is that you have to wake up each morning, get dressed, get ready to go to a different location to go and attend lectures. Maybe your lecturer is not present for the day, so maybe you'll be missing out on a lesson. Also, there could be distractions in the class, and you may not do well around distractions. There could be things that are happening in campus, like sometimes there's protest action that could be interrupting your normal day. And there's a lot of fees as well involved with traveling. I think that's the main thing that is usually not accounted for. Sometimes the person who is driving may not be able to drive for the day, maybe they're having a problem with a car, so then there's just reasons that you could be missing out on a class. And remember that when you attend full-time university, there are certain classes where you have to sign in for, in order for you to show that you are attending and you are participating, and you are actually a student of that campus. So you cannot abscond and stay at home and join a full-time university and think that you can continue studying from home, because you have to show that you are coming in for classes. and different universities operate differently, so this may not be the case at the specific university you're looking at. So it's important to ask the people who are going there what's the rules regarding attendance, etc. Because if it's further away from home and you're going to be having a problem with traveling, then full-time university may not be for you. It may be better to study online. And the cons of studying online is mainly discipline. Because you're at home, your discipline is going to be greatly tested because you're around distractions, you're around your living environment, and you can live your day like a normal day and not like a studying day. So, a discipline is the main factor. Another thing is that you're going to be teaching yourself. So, if you don't do well with teaching yourself, then you're going to have a problem because you're not going to be able to keep up. The third thing is time management. So, with studying via correspondence, it tests your skills a lot. It tests time management, your discipline, it tests your ability to remain organized, and all of those things. So, it's important to look within yourself and understand, can you meet those requirements of studying by yourself at home around distractions? Overall, I would say that when you decide in between studying at a full-time university and a part-time university, you need to sit down with a pen and paper and look at the website of each university, look at the type of teaching method they choose, and decide, is this going to work with me or is this going to work against me? Because you have to be true with yourself and understand, can I remain dedicated if I need to go to campus each day, or can I remain dedicated if I have to study from home in my room each day? So if you can be true with yourself and come to a real understanding, then your decision will be quite easy. And you must also look and be realistic about the cost involved, because the cost is another major effect, and you cannot put yourself into debt if you cannot afford it. You're just going to become despondent, and it's going to affect your ability to study because you're not going to know whether you can pursue your studies or not, or whether you're not going to be able to afford it come time to pay. And one thing I can say is that if you're going to study CTA part-time, you have to really make a decision, a proper decision on this. You have to really sit down and really do the introspection to understand, can I do this part time? Can I actually go to work, or can I study from home and be dedicated and remain consistent for one whole year? Because CTA requires consistency, and if you're ever going to lag behind, it's going to be difficult to catch up. It is possible, but it's going to be difficult. So you need to be true to yourself and understand, can I do this? And is it going to work for me? Sometimes you may have or be fortunate enough to study either full time or part time. So, in your case, you need to do the introspection and understand, am I setting myself up to pass, or do I function better under these conditions? And therefore, I know this is going to work for me, and I know this choice is going to work. So, yeah, when you are looking at making the decision, it's very important to look within yourself, not whether you don't have friends at the campus, not whether you do have friends, because that's not going to help. Waking up in the morning and going to campus is not going to be easy if you're doing it for someone else. So please make the decision correctly. With CTA, it's more important than a degree for you to make the right decision, because it's 1 year, but it's one of the most important years of your journey. So please do the introspection and understand, is this for me? Is this not for me? And you are bound to make the right decision. Remember, especially with CTA, it's a 1 year course. So if you're going to choose to move on to a different university, you may have to start the entire year again. So when you're making the decision, make sure that it's solid and it's something that you actually are happy with making before you make the final call. So yeah, sit down, get a pen and paper, do the introspection, and understand, does this work for me? If it doesn't work for you, do your research and find what will work for you, because it's your career and you are going to be in charge of it, and having friends or not having friends is not going to be able